Looking for the record button.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Yep. Yep, it's gone. It's one of those days when they don't walk outside. I'm going to take a walk in the sun and follow my days on somebody's new lawn.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, adjectives of every description. And welcome, future animators of Leroy the Puppet. I am Lanson B. DeMoles. Star of my own imagination. Sometimes in the theater they tell you, please no photography and please no flash photography. This is not that kind of performance. This is my good side. For your information. Before, 1, we start, 2, I forget, and 3, anyone sneaks out the back door. There are some people I want to especially welcome and thank. First of all, Kamala, my better half, my other half, my stage helper, my technical expert, my computer saver, and so many other things. I want to thank Joe Judd here running the cameras and the lights. He also was the theremin player and lead vocalist on that introductory video. Thank you to Pat Sapp, the owner of this theater, who has accommodated all my outrageous demands and made them sound like they weren't completely crazy. I want to thank Kayla Rain, who can't be here tonight, but it was her idea that there even be such a stage presentation. A number of us are here that I want to thank are part of Ned Hickson's writing group. Ned's right back over there. We meet every week, and for the last 2 years, every week I've been bringing something that I've written in this fat notebook, either about myself or my ancestors or about this trunk which you will meet. And thank you all for being here. I want to thank Melissa Jones from KXCR for an interview that made me sound twice as smart as I am. Thank you, Jim Wellington, for theatrical advice and some technical help that we will see later. Thank you to all the musicians who have joined Kamala and me over the years, and we hope to be doing that again soon. Thank you all. Thank you to the pet sitters and fellow kayakers. Several of us were kayaking together during COVID, and the social distancing seemed to keep the germs away and also enabled us to feel somewhat normal. Thank you for people that have helped us with the Viking Ghost Boat. Here's Natasha. Natasha, our previous pet sitter. Has everybody got is there a chair somewhere? Oh, right up front.
All right,
Okay, Natasha, right up front. Right up front.
Sorry, I'm late.
I don't mind sharing the spot. I don't mind sharing it with Natasha.
Bless your heart.
The rest of you out there, don't ever do that to me. I also want to thank my twin brother from another mother, Steve Thornburg. We've known each other more than 50 years, and he came all the way from San Francisco.
Wow.
And last but not least, I want to thank Dana and Juliet in the red dress. You met her at the front door. Juliet is my niece. They came all the way from Nebraska, bringing 3 of the 4 teenagers.
Oh, wonderful.
Raise your hands, teenagers. And Dana was the guy, and he hadn't even consulted with anyone. 2 years ago, when we visited in Nebraska, Dana was the guy who said, yeah, we'll find room for the trunk someday when the time comes. So this is where the trunk is destined to be someday. I skipped over. I have to back up in more thinking. This is for Steve. This is for Steve. So for the people who came all the way from Nebraska, perfect. Well done. The reason that Joe is filming is that so that future generations can know what a beautiful audience you were on my 75th birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lanny. Happy birthday to you.
So Monica back there is going to be upset with me if I run over an hour. Can you take that off the clock, please? That's not scheduled.
I'll get the hook.
Get the hook. All right. Oh, and I forgot to thank Three Rivers Casino for these incredible note cards, without which, who knows what could happen. Oh, it's not really my 76th birthday. That was a week ago. But Kamala's going to fix that in the video editing. All right. Without further ado, perhaps you can help me read it.
Who was Uncle Lanny? Anyway.
That's why we're here. I was trying to put this in just a very few concise words, why I even did this project at all. And I ended up with about 10 reasons, and they all kind of overlapped, but you'll bear with me. Many of us wonder, many of us in our age generation, wonder who will take our stuff when we're gone.
Our stuff.
And what stuff will they be willing to take, and that sort of thing. So that's really the key to this whole project. The purpose is that so that anyone in the future who might care to know who I was. That was for the unveiling. Yes, indeed. front next to Natasha.
Welcome, Karen.
So that anyone in the future who might possibly be interested can know who I am and who I was. Some of you remember that album cover, I'll bet. It's also possible that someone might find in here something, a personality trait that reminds them of themselves, either with the stuff that pertains to me or stuff that pertains to other relatives. Because it turns out that a large portion of this trunk is full of stuff from people like my parents and my mother's parents who, for various reasons, including dementia and death, did not put together their own trunk. Left their stuff behind at random. Somebody might find a personality trait that reminds them of themselves. And finally, there could be someone someday who finds themselves in a life that's somewhat off the beaten path, and they might wonder if their wacky way of life can work out for them. This trunk is here to attest that Uncle Lanny's wacky way of life worked out okay for him. So let's have a look inside. Now, most of the information, which includes movies from back to as far as 1945, and includes, unfortunately, thousands of photographs. Most of this information is not in physical form, but in digital form. On these discs, which are called M-discs, they are just like regular DVDs or Blu-ray discs, which hold more data than a DVD, except that their coating is a ceramic coating that is able to withstand more heat and moisture and general abuse, the kinds of things that degrade regular discs. So these M discs are guaranteed for 1,000 years. And if they fail after only 500 years, I get my money back. Now, people of the future, you might not even have anything to play them. So I'm including 2 disc players in the trunk, of course. And they're special that they're able to burn M discs. But if you're just playing them, any player will do. And they attach via USB. And of course, someday there may be no more USB, but it's going to be up to this next generation to figure a workaround for that. Okay, able-bodied assistant, am I looking for something? Ta-da! This is a copy of a famous piece by René Lalique. And if you know fancy glass, you've heard of René Lalique. If you haven't, as I had when I bought it, clear back in 1971, when I was working as a night janitor at a department store making $1.60 an hour. So I didn't really have the money for fine art at the time, but I bought it anyway. And I'd like anyone besides Ned to guess how much I paid for it, because at writing group 2 weeks ago, Ned got it right on the nose in there. Any guesses?
$100.
$100, that's beautiful. Yes, thank you. Less. 18. Oh.
$8.95.
$8.95. $8.95 is closer yet.
5 cents. $5.
$5. Oh, That's why I treated Natasha so nice when she showed up late. She got it just right. Just right. Rene Lally. He made glass for the Coty company that made fancy cosmetics from France back in the day. As though you needed to know that. This doesn't belong here at all. It's not going to be in the trunk, and I don't. I can pretend I don't know why it's here, but. I can read this crowd as difficult to fool. So bear with me. This song does belong in the trunk, and it will be there. Once there was a time when there was kindness. Once there was a time when folks would share, even without much to spare. Is there still kindness anywhere? Long before your time in a memory of mine, giving itself was a gift. Up came a greed, so much more than a need. It drove us right over the cliff. If it all falls to pieces, my nephews and my nieces, I swear that you can make a better way. You can swap the idiotic, despotic and chaotic for a kinder and a gentler USA. If you do the math, you are likely to laugh at your crazy luck just to exist. Every living thing, we have all hit the jackpot. If only we all can persist. If it all falls to refuse, my nieces and my nephews, we will tell you what it takes to fix it if you dare. With some guts and solidarity, resistance and hilarity, you will make a world all living things can share. This is not the most amazing marionette you'll ever see. But it got the only laughs in our puppet show clear back in 1972. And its talent was this. The kids loved it. But this puppet served to introduce the most important thing in the entire troupe, and which happens to be the thing that least wants to stay in the troupe.
Yeah.
That would, of course, be...
Drum roll. Drum roll.
Don't need a drum roll. Hi! I'm Leroy the Puppet! And you might think that I need these strings because I'm a so-called marionette, but I don't really need them. I just have them to make Uncle Lanny feel like he's got something important to do. And I do not intend to spend eternity in that trunk after he's gone. Because what has he got? Like 40 more good years?
I've got 140 good years left. And I have so many talents. One of the things I'm really good at teaching is people how to fly. Ty, could you come up here a minute? This is what I taught his mother's first grade class how to do. Okay? Let's face the audience a little bit. I think and don't fall off of there. Until you're flying. First raise one hand, doesn't matter which one. Very good. Then you raise one leg, doesn't matter which one. Either leg. Hang on, I gotta get okay. Raise your other hand. Then very slowly lift the other leg. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. I don't know why, but just like his mother's first grade class, the children have about 75% success rate with flying. So as I said, I have a passport. I can travel anywhere. And, you haven't even seen about our puppet show yet. We started in Nebraska. Before then, with me, I was the so-called villain of the show, which is, can you believe it? As good looking as I am. And we ended up in California, which is where Lanny and I stayed. And I helped survive all the other puppets. I'm the one that really had a personality. But the thing about puppets that's different from dolls is that puppet is only alive when it's actually moving and when it's among people. A doll is a doll, whether it's just sitting there or has a stand up its shoulders. So, so I hope to keep moving long after Uncle Lanny is gone. Look, I'm even a puppeteer myself. And that's one of those people right down there. I'm very patriotic. I know my holidays, that'd be more like Easter, right? And if something should happen, if I should break, it's no problem fixing me. You can change out all my joints that are just made of fishing tackle or scrap leather. And wouldn't you like to be able to cut up an old shoe and replace your own knee? And if I should happen to fall in the chipper, or something terrible should happen to me, don't worry. I'll show you why. Because I also am Uncle Lanny. I'm Leroy the Younger. And I was created, well, it's a long story why I was created, and I don't exactly know it. But in addition to teaching people to fly, for the younger children, I test them for allergies, my allergies. I ask the children to touch me on the nose, and if I'm allergic, this happens. Sometimes the reaction is somewhat delayed, but it usually happens sooner or later. Oh man! Sorry kid, I'm allergic to you. But let's do that again, like for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And if both of us Leroys should have something happen to us, don't worry, because I am also Leroy. Leroy in a different form. It just so happened that when Dana and Julie down there, when they got married, there was a problem with the older Leroy being like lost in a box. So what happened? 12-year-old Jossie, there in the picture, she turned me into Leroy. And it worked out just fine. That way, her siblings and her cousins and all the other people at the wedding could play with Leroy, just happened to be in this farm. And when the children, when those two of those children down there said, Jossie, turn it back to the regular Leroy. We want the regular Leroy. Do you remember what Jossie said? She said, no. I got a grant for it, and I've already spent the money. So I also don't expect to spend eternity in that truck, all right?
All right, thank you, Leroy. Now, if anybody in the future finds themselves in need of a $60 bow tie, or the necktie, hand-painted silk, you'll find it right there. And like just about everything I own that's nice, it was purchased when I did not have the kind of money a person might have needed to actually buy it, but it was a good investment. Now I want to talk about this guy, my stepfather. He and my mother used to come to California every winter and spend about 6 weeks. And we had a great time. But that made my sister, Juliet's mother, jealous, as in, what are we, chopped liver kind of jealous. Because, as you might imagine, they lived in a small town, 4,000 people. He was an insurance agent, and they were regular churchgoers. People had expectations of how they might behave, how they might dress, and what they might do. They got to come to California and be a little bit wild, a little bit wacky. So in that process, we went, where did I put my clicker?
Probably in your coat pocket.
I don't think that coat has a pocket.
Okay.
Jim, can I borrow yours quick?
Yes, you can.
We'll make sure you get it back when you need it. So one day we went to Colby's Swamp Meet in San Diego, and we all bought these crazy pants. And we sent the crazy pants, and we also bought crazy pants for the 3 granddaughters. And we, later that summer, 1991, we all went to a family reunion in Colorado, and that's Juliet there on your, what is she? I have to look there. She's there on the far left, and her 2 sisters are all wearing their crazy pants.
I didn't realize it was this kind of show.
Are you over 18? So, and that was all fine. But then there's Juliet. She doesn't always wear this particular headdress, but she looked good in it there at the reunion. And everything was fine until it came time for the beginning of first grade at the end of the summer. And perhaps, Julie, you can tell the story?
Which story am I telling?
The story of you wearing your mother sending you to first grade in your crazy pants.
Yes, I have. One of my favorite pictures is me standing outside getting ready for school and getting ready for the first day, and all the other girls are in their pretty dresses, their Easter dresses with their really pretty socks with the little ribbons on them and their little high heel shoes. And here I am wearing my crazy pants, and a tie-dye shirt with my name on it for my first day of school. So my fashion sense goes to this guy here.
Well, here she is in 2019, so the trauma apparently has lasted at least that long. And it runs in the family. That's Juliet with her mother and her two sisters.
Take it off.
So I have vowed that at age 76, from now on, I am only going to dress for comfort, not for style. Take it easy, Dave. Take it easy back.
He's getting excited.
All righty then. Speaking of unusual clothing, this is my sister, Juliet's mother, wearing the famous blue dress. As it turns out, in 2006, I showed up at a yard sale in California where I lived. And this dress was on sale for 25 cents. And I thought even for the fabric, even if I cut it up and make handkerchiefs out of it, it was worth 25 cents. In the meantime, I have photographed, I'm sure, over 200 people wearing this dress. That's Juliet's older sister in the hometown swimming pool of my hometown in Nebraska. And I am leading the revolution in Paris. That's my Uncle Ken. I'll talk about him a little bit later in a different context. He gave birth to quintuplets the next my dentist. And this is an old high school teacher of mine named Gwen. I'm going to stop a minute and talk about her. If you think back to your schooling career, especially your K-12 years, I hope you all had at least one teacher who was as marvelous and as influential to you as Gwen was to me. Every child deserves such a teacher somewhere in their career. I just loved her. She taught world literature, and we learned about comparative religions and all kinds of things that really opened up my mind. We were close friends throughout her entire life. She died at age 85 in 2016, and I'm still in touch with her daughter and her grandchildren, and Leroy has played with most of her great-grandchildren. We saw some of them 2 years ago. And I made, over time, I made several best of books of people in the blue dress. But I had expected that it would be here, but I haven't seen the blue dress for a while. Has anybody here? Yeah, thank you, Steve. You may borrow it back anytime. We will let you know when Mr. DeMille is ready for your closing. This is a scanner. You probably all know flatbed scanners, and perhaps your copy machines even can scan things. This one is useful because it can scan quickly. You can click and then you flip a page and click, do whole books rapidly like that. And in addition, it's good for three-dimensional objects like this. This modified Hummel figurine, where's the center there? There. Comes with its own story. My mother collected more than 100 Hummel figurines. She loved them. I'm sure she thought that there were little spirits in each of them. And they were gifts from her husband, my stepfather, from us kids. And they all meant a lot to her. Until one day in 2003 when she fell against the glass counter in our house and broke most of them. After that time, she said, well, it's something less that you children will have to deal with. But my sister, Juliet's mother, looked up checked with the homeowner's insurance, which ordinarily would have paid nothing. But my stepfather, the insurance agent, who at that time had passed away some years ago, he had put out a $10,000 rider. So she got $10,000 for these broken homes, which then my sister asked the insurance company, well, what are you going to do with them when we buy them back? They said, yeah, sure, give us $100. So we bought all the broken Hummels back for $100. I said, keep them in a box just as they are. The following summer, we put together, we had a party. We had a party downstairs at Mother's house where we reassembled them in ways that made more sense to us than the saccharine sweet white bread cherubs that we had before. This pilot was already missing a limb or two, so we decked him out properly. There's Juliet herself. There's my mother and Uncle Matt.
He's having fun. She's having fun.
And there's, to me, that was the star creation of the whole night. You can see it's made of pieces from several different heads. There's a crystal figurine inside, and then he's got it all mounted on wires. I just love it. That's my favorite. The humbling experience that I had. Kamala, can you edit that out of the video? Is that necessary?
Yes!
Thank you.
Or no!
So in this trunk will be 2 full-sized actual photo albums in addition to the digital forms. But this one is the mini album. Oh, I got the wrong thing going. It's the mini album cross-referenced by page numbers to the larger ones. If somebody just wants to know their own family history in 10 minutes. Now my parents and I, and probably some of you over the years, took thousands of beautiful color slides. I've saved about 100 out of those thousands. And these 30 were taken by my father in 1951 and 1952. I scanned them like 2 years ago, so they're still in good shape. This is my father in training to fly helicopters in Florida in 1951.
When they were using
He was already a he was already a propeller plane pilot, but he had the choice between learning to fly jets. This is Korean War time. Learning to fly jets or helicopters, and he chose helicopters. Then to Florida, he traveled to Southern California and learned to fly helicopters on aircraft carriers. This next set of photos is from his drive from Nebraska to Albuquerque in January 1952. And I just love how the colors and the details are just as crisp as they were 70 years ago when these were taken.
Beautiful.
And they had to spend the night in, I think it was Independence, California, because of this snow. And the next day they crossed the Sierra Nevadas to get to El Toro. Now, Dave Farrell, you can tell me, I'm sure, exactly what year of Ford this is just from the back window.
Okay. Well, you from that?
Well, yeah.
You gotta be. I have to buy it one.
Well, his Ford's a 63 in
Yeah.
classic shape, so don't get in a fight with Bill over here with the 64 Chevy. 1944. I'm sure most of the rest of you knew that. After that, they made a single window. So in 1953, my father died in a car wreck. And that was hard on the family, of course. I remember being 4 years old when my mother put this scrapbook together. I was at home at age 4. Brother Wayne was almost 7, and he was in the 2nd grade. And Sister Kathy, Juliet's mother, was 13 months old. But Mother, bless her heart, put together just a wealth of information about my father Francis, and so many things we can learn if we care to. It includes his birth certificate, all of the organizations that he ever belonged to, all of his ranking in the military, every airplane he ever flew, all kinds of stuff, including, and including his report cards from grade school, for crying out loud. But what I wanted to share with you, in the spring of 1953, he was teaching 6th grade in the town where I grew up, Seward, Nebraska. And then in that spring, he sent home this permission letter to parents of students in his class, telling them that for $1.50, children in that class could ride with him in an airplane. He says he could rent the airplane in nearby Lincoln, Nebraska for $15 an hour. And that they would meet him at an alfalfa field near a certain farm, and that's what the flight would happen. Back in 2003, I happened to meet a man who was one of those students who got an airplane. And he said that he got a particularly long ride that day because the airplane was low on fuel. And they had to fly all the way to Lincoln to get more. So this obviously has a place. Okay. Now we got. You saw the man with the propeller and the blue dress a little while ago. He made this. This is my Uncle Ken, my dad's 2 brothers older brother, who was a pilot his entire life and who had actually been a flight pilot instructor back in World War II in the Army Air Corps. He had had a little bit of flying experience prior to World War II, so of course they made him the instructor. When he turned 75 years old, Aunt Wilma, his wife, convinced him that he should stop flying.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after that point, he started building these wire models of every airplane that he had ever flown. That's his son Richard there, and I think he made more than 20 in all. After Aunt Wilma died, when Aunt Wilma died, Uncle Ken was maybe 85, and he decided, I kind of like to fly again. So he put together an airplane.
Oh my goodness.
Built an airplane from a kit. He married cousin Cindy's father's widow, Aunt Gloria, and together they flew this airplane in hops from Iowa to Monmouth, Oregon.
Wow.
In 2008, I got a ride from him from Monmouth to Lincoln City out on the coast. And I remember him saying somewhere in the coastal mountains that particular spot made him nervous because that was the only spot along the whole way where he didn't know where he would land if the engine quit. So I asked, Uncle Ken lived to be age 98, he died at age 98 in 2016. And I asked his sons for this model because, as you recognize from the twin tails, it's a Beechcraft Bonanza. I think that was the only common airplane made in that design. I knew that was an airplane that my father had flown, and it's one that I do remember from the little airport in Iowa. So they let me keep that one. There's a problem with ukuleles. They get into the darndest places. And where you find one, you're likely to find more. So let's see if, yeah, Marcus is better.
And Lanny, I think I need the clicker back.
I think you do.
I think I do.
Thank you. We were expecting Anna Moore. Did she make it? Anna Moore? Anna Moore? Anna Moore brought us this song that we just loved and found appropriate. It's called Cyclostar. And the author of it is a man named Kyle Thomas, who goes by the stage name of King Tuff, T-U-F-F, King Tuff. Yeah, Jim, go ahead and get to that one. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Looking out my window, there's no doubt about it. We don't belong in this world. Be better off without us. Madness and destruction, maybe that is all that we are. Universe is mostly made of nothing, but isn't it all beautifully bizarre? here we are, watching the wind blow, watching the wind blow, watching the rain so hard, watching the fire getting higher on this strange little star. We were always dreaming of castles in the sky, dreaming of another planet. How could we be so blind? Chaos and destruction, maybe that is all we really are. The universe is probably an illusion, but isn't it so beautifully bizarre that here we are, watching the wind blow, watching the wind blow, watching the rain so hard, watching the fire getting higher on this strange little star. Chaos and confusion, maybe we all that we are. The universe is probably an illusion, but isn't it so beautifully bizarre that here we are, watching the wind blow, watching the wind blow, watching the rain so hard, watching the fire getting higher on this strange little star.
While that gets caught up, we're good. Here's something that I showed and talked about at my mother's memorial service from the pulpit in 2007. It's mother's bowling shirt. After father died, she very wisely arranged for herself a night out with the girls once a week. And she and her friends bowled together for 5 or 6 years, but then continued to get together for coffee every week for the next 50 years. There's Ida Marie Brust. One day when I happened to join them. That's Betty Pitch.
You joined them in the grocery store?
And this is Jean Colderman. She's the last of the bowlers still alive, in her 90s. And I contacted her recently to ask her about some particular harassment that she and her friends had given to my mother years ago. And she wrote me this, trust me, she wrote me this letter 2 weeks ago, detailing what she and her colleagues had done to my mother when they were in high school, and my mother was their student teacher in home economics. But all was forgiven, and they were friends for life. if anybody ever asks me, Uncle Lanny, did you ever make money from your art? I can say, yeah, big money. I made and still make these little meditating figures. You might call them Buddhas or whatever you want. I used to make them and I used to sell them at a local gallery in California for $13 to the bag, and I made the bags myself out of whatever fabric I could find. That top one was actually it was made for a photographer, so I took apart a camera to make it. Anyway, these bags of Buddhas sold at the gallery for $35 a bag, of which I got half. So my take-home pay as a working artist was about 60 cents an hour.
Yeah.
Something that I still need to scan to make it fit in the trunk because it will not fit now is a collection of my grandmother's diaries. My collection is incomplete, but I have them from 1919 to 1975. And she was a dutiful diarist. She didn't put down a whole lot of feelings, but she certainly got the information correct. This is her diary that is particularly poignant to me and the family. It was a free diary from Grandpa's insurance agency. In 1957, and the events around around April 20th are particularly important to me and were important to the life of the family. On Saturday, April 20th, grandmother writes, finished raking the yard. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock, Griffin's sale. Elmer there all afternoon. Elmer was my grandfather, and he was probably a clerk at an auction sale, that's my guess. 4 o'clock, Elmer went uptown to get groceries and bring old car home. Fell and stumbled, walked into a window at bowling alley. To hospital. Lois Dugdale and I went to Seward with me. Elmer out of operating room at 12:30 a.m. Lois and I home at 1:15. The next day, Easter Sunday. Went into shock at 5:30 a.m. Then the details of who got my mother and us children back from Iowa. Monday, April 22nd, 4 o'clock. Elmer passed away. Thursday, April 25th, 2 o'clock, funeral. Church at 2 p.m. 6 o'clock, tornado struck. That was the famous tornado of Milford, Nebraska, a town at the time of about 1,200 people. A tornado destroyed about 1/3 of the town. And there was grandmother, the civil defense leader, trying to herd us all down into the basement. Before that happened, I remember the hail balls falling like baseballs, and one of them hit Grandpa's little brother Ben on the head and knocked him to the ground. So, what Juliet's mother, my sister Kathy, figured out years later, the day after Grandpa's funeral, Grandma and my mother were all of a sudden in charge of this insurance agency on the busiest and most stressful day they must have ever had. So hardly a good opportunity to grieve. Here's something else, or here's something that's definitely not going to fit into the trunk, besides it's been promised elsewhere. This is a propeller that my father wrote. Well, I've got the letter tucked inside here. My father wrote this letter to his parents on January 3rd, 1944. Says, I've got some bad news to tell you, so I might as well sooner or later, so I might as well be sooner rather than later. Yesterday, my instructor and I washed out a plane. Then he put in parentheses, cracked it up, broke. The story was, well, he was doing his very earliest flight training for the Navy in a tiny town called Las Vegas, New Mexico. And they were coming in for a landing. There was a crosswind, and the propeller caught the snowdrift on the side of the runway, broke the propeller, and also broke other parts of the airplane. Now, we don't know what happened with the flight instructor, but my dad was not thrown out of the program. His next letters came from Athens, Georgia, where he was in flight cadet school, so I guess that worked out for him. He was also allowed, obviously, to keep the propeller, so he sent it home to his parents like anyone would do, COD. With the instruction, mother and father, please keep it in a dry place. I'd like to put a clock in it one day. Now, just last year, I found this clock on eBay, so finally that wish has been fulfilled. This propeller has been promised, if she wants it and if she ever has a space for it, to Juliet's daughter Jocelyn, the one who's not here today, who is currently in flight training back in Nebraska. Something else that's not going into the trunk will be gifted to Juliet's little sister Jill. This beautiful sculpture was made by yours truly back in college, my short-lived sculpture career. But Jill is going to be bequeathed this item so that she can either smash it or throw it off a cliff or into the river, whatever she chooses, for the fright that it used to give her. When as a small child she would come down the parents' steps into the basement and discover a thing. I don't know how many times this happened, but the way she explained it, it was probably more than once. Not going in the trunk, besides his head. Pure plastic. Something else that's not going into the trunk, for reasons that you may be able to guess. Godzilla. Godzilla dates back to 1976 and 1977. That's what it looked like with all of its form. And my brother Steve Thornburg there, bless his heart, he kept it in his basement for about 40 years. Until he gave me the ultimatum that you can expect. This was the playbill for our play. Antony and Cleopatra Meet Godzilla. And this was made by my cousin David, dear friend and cousin who passed away 2 years ago. Godzilla, the costume, you can imagine inside kind of a turkey carcass made out of aluminum tubing. And that was worn like a backpack by the person inside. And we performed this on stage several times in San Francisco. There's Shakespeare himself choking one of the actors for his obvious disgust at what we had done to his work. There's Cleopatra being accosted by one of Caesar's emissaries. Now the fellow with the blue ribbon on his neck, that is Steve himself. I'm the guy in the cowboy hat. No problem necessary. So I did die well, and over a long period of time. That's Steve again with a fellow general named Lepidus. And Lepidus was mostly a yes man, so Steve operated him like a ventriloquist dummy. But Godzilla, you're not making it into the trunk. I'm so sorry. It's all right, Godzilla? It's all right. All right, Godzilla. Thanks for coming. Thanks for showing up. Yeah. So in this picture, my grandmother and I are each wearing this helmet. The picture was taken in 1979 on her porch. And grandmother had this helmet because as a state civil defense officer, she was invited to a very famous atom bomb test in 1955. For this particular test, they must have wanted to publicize it highly because they had, of course, 1 million cameras going. And the test was done just a convenient bus ride distance from Las Vegas. They had built complete towns, complete with food in the pantry and mannequins on the couches to find out what an atomic blast could do to such things. So, Mother got to see it. Her other souvenir was some J.C. Penney's coveralls. Wow. and they were certainly covering themselves by, for the atomic bomb test. And you can find videos about this test on YouTube. Here's my great niece Miriam preparing for whatever disaster might come next. I have tried to throw away this next item. I have tried hard to just be done with it. Who could ever possibly care about little Lanny's baby book? Detailing things like when I got my first teeth and such like that. Who could possibly care? It turns out that I did. Copies of my birth certificate. Baby's first 10 days, the only thing marked, first 10 days, the only thing marked is baby Lanny seemed to have a lot of mucus. Which 76 years later is still an issue. This is kind of special to me. Baby's first haircut, which turned out to have been exactly 75 years and 1 week ago today, done by my father. And look at this fine blonde hair I used to have. Those were the days. But it's also fun for me to see. I could see who was all invited to my great age 5 or age 6 birthday party, where we went to have a weenie roast. It was fun. Oh, a couple more things from the book. At age under character development. At age 3, I was listed as willful. There's cousin Richard restraining me. And that's brother Wayne also wearing a tie. And by age 5, I was listed as truthful, which I can only assume means that I was by then a skillful little liar. When you first came in, you were invited to put things from the overflow box into the other box. May I have the other box, please? Thank you. Oh, these are beautiful. Look at that. Oh, not yet. Okay, that's me. Oop. That's a self-portrait that was perhaps going to become a puppet someday, but didn't quite. Perhaps the complexion. This one's fun. This is fun because I was traveling around in 1971, just after graduating from college, and Cindy's mother, cousin Cindy's mother, taught me how to make some of these stitches. They're not particularly accomplished, but it was my first effort at that. I have no idea what this is doing here. No idea. Must be a mistake. But if you read the fine print, you'll see that it is a little golden book. My stepfather, the guy with the crazy pants, was also a ham radio operator. So this was his, and among his many, many hobbies that he tried over the years, this is the one he stuck with. And so this is his license plate. Grandmother, for her civil, not only civil defense, she was in other organizations. I wish I had asked her when she was still living why and how she was given the Freedom's Foundation Valley Forge organization Medal of Honor for supporting the American way of life, bless her heart. Cousin David that I mentioned him, who made the artwork for Antony and Cleopatra make Godzilla. He was certainly never grew up. And that was collected out of his storage unit when his brother and I cleaned it out after his passing. This is cool because it belonged to grandmother, my mother's mother, but she had it, I don't know the story, but she had it before she was ever married, so it goes back to 1919. I also would have loved to have asked her, what did they use to scratch that with back in the day? Can you see that writing? Yeah. I assume it was electric, but electricity was not that common in the era. These are tops from Lanson. My real name is Lanson, from Lanson Champagne, which I don't know why I was named Lanson, because nobody in the family is named Lanson. So I made up the story that my father, who at the time was going to school in New York City, after I was born, he ordered champagne for the people at the bar. It happened to be Lanson Champagne, and after about 2 glasses, sounded like a good name for me. And so that's not true. And last but not least, out of this box is a J pick. And this entire family is entrepreneurial in very positive ways. And from about age 8? 7? Yeah, from age 7, Jocelyn, the girl who turned Leroy into a cat, was making these guitar picks out of used credit cards. She had some kind of a die that would cut them. And you tell me, Juliet, did she at least smooth them out a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, and sold them all around town.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Okay. So that is everything from that box. Thank you very much. One last thing.
Just reset.
There's one last thing that this trunk needs and it doesn't have yet. And I need your help to put it there. And that thing is called hope. You're gonna need this again. I'll show you how we used to do it at the little country school where I was a teacher for 20 years. All the kids from kindergarten through grade 7, we would all get together every morning for our morning meeting, and that would always include a song. And I would, when we did this one, I would do it this way. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. But our friend Russ Dixon right over there realized that California was overrepresented, and the final 2 states of this, the most recent 2 states of this union weren't even mentioned. So Russ fixed it. So please help me as we at least start the first verse Russ's way. This land is your land, this land is my land, from Hawaiian beaches to New York Islands, from Lasseter's North Slope to the Gulf Stream waters, this land was made for you and me. As I was walking down the highway, I saw above me that endless skyway. I saw below me
This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was strolling, and the wheat fields waving, and the dust clouds rolling, as the fog was lifting, a voice was chanting, this land was made. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. As I was walking, I saw a sign there, and on the sign it said, no trespassing, but on the other side it didn't say nothing. That sign was made for you and me. This land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Okay. Anything we missed?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Any quick questions? Any questions at all?
Do we leave the $10 at the door?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do we pick up the $10 in the door?
Yeah. Before anybody goes, one of my purposes, obviously, for doing this among our age group is to perhaps inspire or at least make people think about how and what they might want to do for future loved ones of theirs. And I'm certainly available any time in the future to confer with you about what I have done, what I'm up to. If anybody is curious about any of this eBay technology, I'll be happy to talk to you about it. And last but not least, Pat Sapp, the owner of this place, says that we're welcome to hang around here for a few minutes and chat if we wish. And certainly you could help me pack up if you wish. So thank you very much. I'm delighted that you all could come.
What a day for a daydream. What a day for a daydream more. And I'm lost in daydream. Dreaming about my bundle of joy. And time ain't really on my side. It's one of those days we're taking a walk outside. I'm going